welcome to Petrol Media Talks. I'm your host, Terrence, and today we are starting the journey of getting all of this weight off. So I am 48 years old, and I am about 230 pounds at this time. I tried to work out with my kids, and it was a bit of a mess. My oldest wants to give out a very structured workout. My second oldest, she has a different plan for how she wants to do things. And then the boys are just chaotic. So a lot of the workouts didn't work out the way that I would like it to have. I like seeing all those people who work out with all their kids. It looks amazing. It doesn't work that way for me. It's just chaos. But I think that's also because of the age of the children. The younger boys they're boys and they're unstructured, and it just takes time for that to adjust. I think in another 6 months to a year, they'll be fine. However, I'm 48 and I don't really want to wait that long. And for the first time in a long time, they're all in school at the same time, which gives me the opportunity to actually pursue what I'm trying to do. I am going to start off a little bit slower. My plan, since I do pick up and drop off of all the kids, is to start with walks. When I was 300 pounds, back in 2015 or so, 350 pounds, and I got down to 300 pounds before my surgery. I had a gastric sleeve surgery, and between the surgery and 2 mile walks every single day, I lost a lot of weight. I got down to about 185 pounds. Now, the pandemic happened, and we were all forced to shelter in place, and that unfortunately caused some issues for me. I have to move. Actually, most people have to move. You have to move, but I have to move if I want to lose weight. If I sit still for far too long and don't do anything, I will absolutely gain weight. And that's one of the things that was problematic with my career, being in music production and in IT. And it kind of lined up indirectly because with the schedules of the kids, one of us has to be available. Now, my wife is a professor and a therapist, and she works her butt off. And I do appreciate what she does. However, at some point, I need to figure out something on that side. But in the meantime, while I'm still looking for a position, I figured let me just go ahead and get as much of this weight off with the time that I'm allotted because the kids are not here and I can just focus. So what happens? The last time I did this, like I said, I got down to 185 pounds. Currently, I'm 230 pounds. I lost the weight simply by walking 2 miles a day. I also minimized my caloric intake to about 800 calories. Now, that sounds crazy, but what I did was I packed the caloric intake with high nutrient dense food, mostly protein, a lot of vegetables, a little bit of carbs because your body still needs carbs to function correctly. So you can't just cut it all the way out. And the biggest thing was making sure that I took care of my health. I had my vitamins. I did everything I needed to do to make sure that my health is okay. What we're going to do is focus on the walking. And we're going to go for a walk in a moment, and I'm going to track it, and I'm going to see how far we go because I've lived near this park for a long time. By the way, we're back in California, and we've lived by this park for a very long time, but I've never mapped how many miles it is. And depending on how much the one loop takes will determine how many of them I have to take to make a mile. So we're going to walk all the way around this park. And I love this park. It's pretty quiet most of the time during the day. And it gives me a lot of opportunity to just grind out and do what I have to do. There's a lot of different levels, inclines, declines, etc., all the way around the hill, all the way to the back end, way back there. And then we come right back. I have to admit, this is not the easiest thing to do after not working out for forever. So 2 miles. What I found so far, the first lap took 0.65 miles. That means I have to do 4 laps around this park to hit 2 miles. And I'm going to try to do this every day. I know tomorrow I won't be able to, well, I might be able to do it tomorrow. I'm supposed to be with my wife, so I won't be filming. So I'm going to try to do 2 miles every single day so that I can get this weight right back off. And the last time I did this, it took me about 4 months, 3 to 4 months to get down. Now, granted, that was with the surgery and minimizing my caloric intake. And I'm going to have to do that. I'm going to have to lower how many calories I take in. Now, currently, I'm taking in far too many calories. Now, let's talk about calories. People think that you have to have a 2,000 calorie diet. Not true at all. Now, it all varies based on the person. I am not a doctor. Take this advice with a grain of salt. The calorie intake for a person varies by person. So what I learned with my body, specifically with my body, I needed a minimum of 800 calories on a daily basis for me to be healthy. And that's with me not moving, sitting in the studio, sitting at a desk doing whatever I'm doing for work, for IT, anything. If I'm not doing any movement, 800 calories is the minimum. Now, on a highly active day where I'm really moving around and doing a lot, I honestly don't need more than 1,200 calories. Now, again, people say, well, that's crazy. The FDA says 2,000 calories and this is what we need. Well, yes and no. If I was like going into some kind of major sport or being super active, yeah, I would still need more. But again, at 48 years old, a lot of that just gets turned to fat. Even when I'm super active, it will still showcase as me gaining weight. And that's the thing that tricked me. You know, when I was eating before, I was eating way over 2,000 calories. I was having something in the neighborhood of, whew, I think I tracked it once at the beginning. It was like 2,800 to almost 3,000 calories on a daily basis. That is an NFL football player's caloric intake. Like, get what I'm saying? Eating that many calories is the equivalent of the intake of a person who is trying to be a professional athlete in the NFL or the MLB. No, not even the MLB, the NFL or rugby or any of those type of heavy, crazy over the top strength reliant sports. You know, even in basketball, 2,500 calories is more than enough. And you're not going to burn all of that. Like, it is hard to burn all of that. Okay. Coming around on lap 2, I'm going to take a quick look at my stats and I will let you know how many calories I've burned so far and how far I've gone on lap 2. Yeah, so I looked at my specs really quick. I'm at 1.26 miles, so 2 more laps will cover the 2 miles. And somewhere in the neighborhood of about roughly 150 calories. And this is a fast walk. This is not running. Running would obviously burn more, but I need to get down about 10 to 15 more pounds. So the impact on my knees are not as harsh as they could be. So we are partway into lap 3. And it is a reminder of how out of shape I am. Now, at my heaviest, I was actually able to do 10 miles of walking, but this is a long time ago. This was when we were living in Florida for a little bit, and it was all flat land. California has a lot of varying inclines, declines. Even this park, it's basically built on a hill. So you get to work a lot of different muscles at the same time. Now, I'm not trying to be a health guru. Like I said, this channel, I wanted to focus on day-to-day life, things like that, getting healthy, and also some talks about music and technology. This is just a channel to talk. And unlike the other channel where, yeah, there's some talking that happens, it's more focused specifically on music production, music equipment, music technology. We're not doing that here. Not so much. Oh my God, this incline. The incline's kicking my butt. But this is great. I mean, I've missed this experience since the twins were born and they turn 5 tomorrow. So it's just good to start working on it. Plus, my wife wants me to be healthier, and my oldest requested me be the fit dad. And you can't ignore a request from your child. So here we are, almost through with lap 3. It doesn't look like much, but this is down. That's where I came from. And I'm going that way, and then it circles back around, and it goes back down. And it's a slight gradient. It's not as aggressive as it could be. Now, why am I doing this and filming it? Partly because I want you to understand something. It doesn't take much to lose weight. It's managing how many calories go in, figuring out how many calories you burn, and making the adjustment. So let's say you want to maintain your weight. If you eat 2,000 calorie diet and you burn a sedentary day, standing or sitting, not really doing much, walking around your office but barely doing anything, you can easily burn 200 calories. That means you're pocketing 1,800 calories, and your body has to do the math and figure out where that's going. And in most cases, it's going right here, mainly because it's the easiest thing to do. I mean, it's like, it's a visceral fat. It's all so soft. It's so easy to just make that. You know what I mean? And your fat cells, from what I learned through the journey, the easier way to deal with this, obviously, is liposuction. It's not the most cost-effective way to deal with it, but mainly because once they're removed, they don't grow back. So if you remove the fat cells, they don't grow back. However, whatever fat cells are left will swell and replace if you gain weight again. This is why when people do certain surgeries and they lose a lot of weight, they still gain weight. That's why I didn't want to do liposuction. And anybody on here who's a doctor, feel free to comment below. I don't mind being wrong. So feel free to comment below and correct my knowledge base. Because if I'm incorrect about the way fat cells work, please correct us so we're all on the same page. So my understanding, like I said, when I went through all of this, I chose the other surgery, the gastric sleeve. What is that? They basically go in and take out a percentage of your stomach. I didn't want to do the bypass because I still wanted to have a stomach. The upside with doing that is that your body, for a while, your brain and your stomach, they shut off that conversation where it tells your body you're hungry. So I really wasn't hungry the whole time. For a little over a year and a half, I had to remind myself to eat. And that tells you a lot about food science, how the things they put in our foods trick your body into thinking you want more, you need more. Like they figured out which chemicals or compounds can convince your brain, your stomach, and your cells that it needs more. Essentially, you're addicted to food. Now, what type of food you're addicted to is based on you, but you could still be addicted. I mean, I'm addicted to protein, like really addicted to protein. But, and I'll have just about any kind of protein for the most part because I don't have any biases. I mean, there's certain things I just won't eat because there's certain things you just shouldn't eat. But, you know, chicken, cows, lamb, goat, etc. Anything like that is fine, to me at least. But that's, again, that's cultural. To me, it's not an issue. Now, as my wife likes to say, there's tons of chicken in the world. So we don't always need to eat everything. You know, and I love fish. I love fish. Fish is really good for you. But beyond that, I have a sweet tooth. But I think most of us do. And a lot of it has to do with the type of sweets that we eat. A lot of our food has manufactured sugars. So to combat that, I've been trying to get raw sugar as much as possible. When I make my coffee, I've stopped putting sugar in the coffee. I'll just put oat milk creamer. And there's a couple of brands that I choose from because I know they don't add any extra like sucralose or fructose or aspartame or any of that crap. I avoid all of that stuff because I look at it as poison. It makes you super addicted to whatever it's in, and your body can't tell the difference. I know how it says it's sugar free, The body doesn't know that. So as far as your body understands, you just put sugar in it. So just because the label says there's no sugar in it, if it tastes sweet to you, it tastes sweet to your body. If it tastes sweet to your body, it's sugar. And your body just takes it and says, hey, we have all this extra sugar. What are we going to do? I don't know. You know what? Let's turn it into fat. Diet, anything is just bad. I stick to natural as possible. One more lap to go, and then I'll wrap up the video. So pass the bus for the last time. One more. So like I said, for me, what worked was keeping the diet as natural as possible, as clean as possible, and I could have a little bit of everything. So right now, my caloric intake is too high. I'm taking in about 2,200 calories, and I need to bring it down to no more than 1,200 calories. And on a day that I'm not busy, I need to bring it down to 800 calories. And that is still very doable. And there's some tricks to doing it. I mean, for me, instead of drinking sodas and juices, obviously I drink water. Water's better. I do cheat a little bit and use those water enhancers. Those aren't so bad, but you can't use a lot of that. So for every bottle that I use, I have a 20-ounce bottle of water. I'll put 2 squeezes of the enhancer in there. So for every bottle of that, I need to drink 3 bottles of regular water. So that's one thing that I do. The other thing is to hit the protein amount, I have to get back with the protein shakes. Now, most protein shakes don't taste that great. I do like the Orgain one, and there's another one. I forgot its name because I haven't had it in a while, but I need to start getting back on that. And I usually have 2 to 4 of those a day. So 4 of them will hit 96 grams. I just need to hit 96 grams of protein. If I have 96 grams of protein that day, that's all from the protein shake. I can't have any other protein for the day. That's the kind of math you have to do so that you can make this make sense. So I only need 96 grams of protein. Anything extra is fat. Same thing with vegetables. I forgot the amount. For the most part with vegetables, you can have a lot of vegetables. And vegetables, they may not be as nutrient dense depending on the type, but they're filling. And filling you up with vegetables is better than filling you up with a bunch of junk food. Having a lot of vegetables, some broccoli, Brussels sprouts, and on down the list. Cool. I've had to step away from my creamy sauces when it comes to salad dressing. Vinaigrettes always work. You know, whether it's Caesar or balsamic or whatever, it works. It's fine because the creamy stuff has additives you don't need. So, and it doesn't mean you can't have it. Again, moderation. For every salad you have with ranch or anything of that nature, the next salad has to be with vinaigrettes and things like that. Or you add protein, or you add something else. You just have to vary it. And it's not impossible. But the diet here in America is hard. Nothing is more obvious than the last time I went back to Jamaica and I was there for a whole summer and I ate a full Caribbean diet and I ate a lot and I lost a ton of weight. That tells you a lot about what's in the food here versus there. We're one of the few countries that still allows for GMOs. So when you're looking for your food, you got to look for that. And it's hard because it's work. Shopping for food is work. And now shopping for meat is also work. So once we are fully settled, my wife and I are going to look for a couple of different farms and see who has the best options and probably pick up our protein in bulk and have a deep freezer in the garage. I think that's the best way to handle it because it's getting harder and harder to tell the lab grown meat from the regular meat. And the fact that they have lab grown fish meat now too, it's really hard. We have lab grown fish, chicken, and beef. That's too much. Overall, growing meat in a lab, in theory, shouldn't be any different from growing it as a live animal. However, the problem is because the DNA is manipulated, you don't know what's being put in the DNA. And that's the real problem because it could easily be something that could impact your health in the long run. So that's why I'm staying away from it. Learned the hard way from all these years that certain things just don't need to be had because it's just really not good for you. And the more you interact with it, the worse your body gets. You know, I'm not a saint. I still enjoy a little libation here and there. But even that's like maybe once, maybe twice a month. And it's usually at home or out with very close friends in an environment I trust. Otherwise, I'm not drinking. So, and definitely not drinking if I'm driving. So the walk is complete, and according to the data, it's saying that I did about 2.57 miles, and it took me about 20 minutes or so per mile. That's based on what you're seeing right here, and it looks like I just need to pick up the pace, which is totally fine. And there's an elevation change of about 144 feet. It's literally tracking how many times I've gone up and down. And in that entire time frame, I accomplished about 6,000 steps. So I know this is not the easiest thing to do. And also, if you look from there, I was actually incorrect. I read the thing wrong, but it actually stated that I had 92 calories of burn. So for the entire 2-mile walk I just did that took me 50 minutes to do, I only burned 92 calories. Think about that. 92 calories. And if I ate 2,000 calories, that means I still have a lot of calories to go to burn for the day. So this is why I had to do the math differently. And I appreciated all the people at UCLA in the bariatric program that actually helped me with the whole process the first time. And I've never forgotten that information. I just kind of stepped away from it because life, kids, etc., it happens. But we're going to work on getting it down. I'm going to try to do this every day. I'm going to try to stick to about anywhere between 800 and 1,200 calories. Right now I'm clocking about, I want to say about 700 calories for the day. So today is going to be rough because I ate too many calories in the morning, and I'm going to have to scale it back by having a lot less calories in the middle of the day and then having a decent dinner to finish it out. And then tomorrow I'm going to have to start with a lot less calories. Also, I've learned that I don't need as many calories in the morning. Midday is usually when I need more calories. Anytime from between 10 a.m. to about 1, 2 o'clock is roughly when I should be eating all of my major calories. I can have a decent dinner, but I really shouldn't have a heavy dinner because I'm not going to burn those calories at night, and those will definitely get turned into fat on my body. And shutting down eating after 8 o'clock at night, like I can't eat after 8 o'clock. So again, these are the rules for my body and what works for me. Things might work differently for you, but you have to look at that. And if I get hungry after hours, I just need to drink water, maybe have some tea, and just relax. It just is what it is. So hopefully you guys are enjoying this, and I will catalog my journey the rest of the way so you guys know. I'm going to try to stick to it every single day as much as possible, especially with the kids out. I might have weekends as rest days, but there really are no off days when it comes to your health. In any event, like, share, and subscribe, and join me next time.